Okay. In the morning session, we have discussion about our course curriculum, right? So now, as we discussed, now in afternoon session, we are going to start uh, firewall introduction session. Okay. So it's those who are very new to this firewall domain, right? So you can able to understand now what is firewall and what are the type of firewalls we have and why we need to migrate with the next generation firewalls. That and all we are going to discuss now. Okay. So before that, I just want to ask you something, right? So just share your thoughts like about your firewall, what you are thinking about firewall. Tell me, guys, any idea what is firewall? Any idea? You can just share your thoughts. Sorry. Guys, it's okay. It's a filter between the internal and external network. Okay, fine. Okay, inbound and outbound traffic has fine. Okay, fine. Any other comments, guys? Okay, firewall. It's used to filter the traffic. Okay, fine. Firewall, it's a device which help us to block unauthorized access. Okay, fine. Okay, guys, fine. Whatever you have shared with me, right? I agree with your points. Okay, okay, yes. So based on your needs, you can block the application services. Yes, I agree with your point. Exactly. Okay, whatever you have shared, right? So everything is good, right? So right answer you have shared with me. So okay. Exactly, it's protect your network with against internal and external attacks. Okay, fine. Okay, enough, guys. Enough. Okay, so now whatever the definition you have given in your point of view, everything is fine. Okay, so that's good. So I'm going to share with you some information about firewall. Okay, so firewall, it's a mechanism, or it may be a device, or it may be a hardware, or it may be a virtual machine, it may be an application software. Okay, so firewall, it's a mechanism. What it can do, it can control and monitor the traffic. Okay, so it can control and monitor the traffic. So it's about the definition. What is firewall? Firewall, it's a mechanism which can, it may be a software, or it may be a firewall, sorry, it may be a hardware, it may be a virtual machine, it may be an application, right? Which can control and monitor the traffic. What it has to do? It has to control and monitor the traffic. What does mean by control? So whatever the definition you have given, right? So I can control my application, I can control the attack. Sorry, I can, I can. I don't want to give the unauthorized access. Like everything, if you don't want to give unauthorized access, that is comes under the control. Okay, and okay, and if you want, the firewall can do two activities. One is controlling your traffic. So what does mean by controlling your traffic? Ensure, let's say, okay, this is my FortiGate firewall. You can assume any firewalls. Okay, so since we are going to learn FortiGate, I'm just making FortiGate firewall, and this is connected with my internal LAN network. And so first we'll discuss about control the traffic, why we need to control the traffic and what basis we can control the traffic, right? So first we'll discuss about the first definition. What is firewall can do? What is firewall? By using firewall, we can control the traffic. What does mean by controlling the traffic? Why we need to control the traffic, right? So that we are going to see now. So this is your ISP. Okay, I'm not talking about our external user try to access your internal resources, not like that. Just I'm going to discuss with my internal employees. They are going to access the internet. Okay, so they are going to access the internet. Now LAN users, LAN 1, LAN 2, I have system A and system B. System A have the IP address 172.16.1.10 and 172.16.1.20 system B. Okay, and now he want to access internet. Oh, okay, fine. So this is an internet connectivity and internet is connected with multiple resources. Fine, that's fine. Don't. So now, so to access the internet, you need one L3 device. So you have placed one router or just forget about the FortiGate. Here, let's assume this is router. We need to access the internet. We need to implement NAT. For that, we need a one L3 device. It's router itself. It can able to do NAT. So if you have a router or any other L3 devices, so it can able to provide the internet connectivity as of now. Okay. So now system A, now he is going to access the internet. In internet, let's say he is going to access Facebook. Let's say he is going to access some uh, okay, any medium, YouTube or any. Okay, okay. So now system A, for his project purpose, let's say he is doing some support. He is giving some support activities and AirAsia for AirAsia company. Okay, so they need to access AirAsia server. Okay, okay. So now our LAN users, our employees are giving a support activities to the customer care. They are handling the customer care of activities of your AirAsia. So to AirAsia customers will book the tickets and they'll in case if any issue or ticket booking or any issue with the ticket booking or cancellation refund, everything they need to raise the ticket and this our employee need to respond for that. Okay, this is the real time scenario. Now what happens? We are not having any firewall as of now. It's an L3 device. Okay. So now what will happen? Simply System A, he want to access something. Actually, he need to access AirAsia web server to take to get his client tickets and to give a support to the customers, right? So all his job related activities, he need to access the AirAsia server. But while doing a job, while during the shift timing, unnecessarily, now he know that he have an internet access, so he is try to access Facebook server. He is requesting to access Facebook server. And also he's trying to access some other a soft movie and audio. He's trying to download some files from Facebook, right? So he's downloading the videos, something, right? And he's posting some everything. He's doing something in a Facebook. So meanwhile in his shift timing. So because of the what will happen? What are the drawback we are going to get, guys? As an employer, you have to think in an employer mindset, not as an employee. So he is in a shifting shift time. He is doing some other activities without doing his job. So what are the drawback is going to happen to employer? First thing, no productivity. Okay, no productivity, right? So he is not going to do his job properly. So he is not going to give a solution to the customers properly. So it it did for one employee, fine, other employee can do manage it, but everyone knows they can able to access the internet and they can able to in a while during a job timing, right? So in a shift timing, he is going to do uh, some other in the internet, he is trying to access something. So because of that, the employer is going is if there is no productivity, then what will happen, guys? The employer need to respond to this client company, and the client will not, if your production is not there, your client will not give a money to you, right? So they will not release the fund, right? So and then if he is not release the fund, the employer will have some issue to give a, so I mean employer will not able to give a salary in a proper way, right? So it's going to affect you without, if you're not going to give any productivity in a office time, right? So this is first thing which is going to affect uh, employer. And the second thing, okay, so while allowing it, it's fine, you can we can increase the manpower and we can increase the productivity like that and all you can manage, however, but the thing is, second thing, while access the internet, he's tried to upload or download some unnecessary files like software files, application, sorry, uh, PDF files, video, audio, anything he's tried to download. Because of that, no productivity and bandwidth wastage. Okay, the second thing is bandwidth wastage. Okay, so when comes to the so if you are allow everything, right, everyone to access the internet in your internal users. Okay, don't forget about the security things and all as of now. Okay, so bandwidth wastage, because of bandwidth wastage. Okay, let's say I'm going to take 1 TB of data. Okay, bandwidth to in my production network, right? So if you allow everyone to access the internet in a per day, when I was a fresher, right? So that time I got an in my in my branch, I got an Wi-Fi network, right? So in my bench act during the bench activities, without doing any job, I am the first culprit. I have downloaded per day. I have downloaded more than 20-30 GB data. Let's assume in a in a company, right? In a company, So let's say 100 employees or 1000 employees are there. If they are try to download per day, they are try to download 100 GB or 20 GB. Is still is there particular kind of people. Okay. So if you are try to download all the series or anything, right? So what will happen because of that? 1 TB data, right? So it will be crossed. It will be crossed within a few days. Let's say 10 days. Within a 10 days, 1 DB data is closed. You after that, what will happen? You are facing because of bandwidth wastage. You are going to face latency in your network. If you crossed your FUP, right? Latency will occur. Your speed will reduce. If your speed will reduce, your process will your your speed will reduce. Or internet speed is reduced. Obviously, latency will occur, right? So it's a second drawback. And third, to top up your FUP, you have to spend a lot of money for that. As an employer, I need to top. If latency is accurate, I'm not able to provide the solution to the customers properly, right? So I need to top up my bandwidth. Okay, so I'm just giving some simple idea. Okay, in a bandwidth, it's not like taking in a real-time protection network. We have to take a secure bandwidth, right? So MPLS link and all. So that and all more costly thing. I'm not talking about the broadband. Okay, so MPLS link until it's a more costlier thing. So you have to spend a lot of money on that. Okay, let's say this has happened in one branch. I have 100 branch. If it is happen anything on 100 branch, the same thing it's happened on 100 branch. So I have to spend a lot of money for just top of my bandwidth, right? So bandwidth wastage is happen. If bandwidth wastage is happen, money I have to spend a lot of money and latency will occur if I'm not ready to spend my money, right? So this is second thing. If you are not, if you're allow, simply if you're allow everyone to access the internet. Okay. So, and then third, while download, they don't have, as a employee, end user, they don't have any um, awareness. They don't have awareness what is the file we are downloading, whether that file is contain any malware, spyware, which is going to affect your internal resources or not, right? So it's in a third thing, there isn't a security risk. Okay, security risk. When comes to the security risk, I'm talking about only the vulnerabilities which is going to affect your internal resources. I'm not talking about the attack which is going to who is going to steal your information, your data leakage and all. I'm just talking about the security risk only, which is going to affect your internal resources. Okay, so in that scenario, they don't aware what kind of file we are downloading inside that file, what are the content we have, whether it is in a vulnerable to our network or not, right? So they are not having any idea. So because of that, security risk is going to happen. So now what will happen? So let's say in a FB or any other social networking application or any other website, the users are try to download some PDF file or any file. That file might contain vulnerable, so virus or malware, spyware, anything, right? So anything that which is going to affect your internal resources, right? So because of that, what will happen, guys? Your network resource, let's say unknowingly he's download the file which is ransom, which is contain the one, he's unknowingly he click the link which is contain the ransomware virus. So what is the what ransomware virus will do? It will entirely as soon as he click that link, and that ransomware virus will be installed in your that particular resource. And what will happen? As soon as it is installed, it will be encrypt your machine entirely. You will not able to see your data. It's an encrypted. Your entire machine will be locked, right? So it will be encrypted, and whatever the internal resource you have, the data which is related to your projects, right? So your upcoming projects, right? Anything which is more sensible, that will be encrypted, and that then the the people, if you want to get back your data, then they will demand you to provide some money to decrypt and to provide your data properly. And if you're not giving that money, sometimes if you're giving that money also, they will steal that information and they will sell that information in the dark web, right? So your data privacy is not there. Okay. So if you are not control the traffic, these are all the issues we are going to face it, guys. It's not about only money. It's not about only uh, productivity, right? Also, there is a security risk. So, under security risk, unauthorized gain, unauthorized access like ransomware attack or virus, malware, spyware, grayware, anything it can able to affect your network and they can able to steal your information as well. Okay, so this is comes under the security risk. So what we have to do? So to avoid these issues, okay, I want to increase my productivity. I don't want to, and also I want to reduce my bandwidth wastage, and I don't want to take risk on my when it comes to the security terms, right? So in that case, what we have to do? We should not simply allow everyone to access internet your internal resources. Okay, sorry, your internal users. We should not allow simply access, even though they're our LAN users and we know who are all working it, our employees only are working it, right? So the well well-known people also using that net our internal resources to access over the internet. Sorry, the, from your LAN network, they try to access the internet, even though they are an authorized person. We should aware. We should not allow any services simply. Okay, so we should to avoid these issues, to productivity loss and bandwidth wastage and security risk, we need to control the traffic. How we can control the traffic? So even though if you are a firewall, instead of firewall, if you have a router also, let's say it's an Cisco router, still you can control the traffic. How we can control the traffic? Guys, any idea? How we can control the traffic? By the help of routers. Exactly. So by the help of access control list, ACL, right? ACLs, you can able to control the traffic. So you can, when from my LAN users, if they try to access the internet, some specific services only I'm going to allow, or specific application only I'm going to allow, right? Right. So that you can define by the help of access control list. In Cisco environment, we'll say that access control list ACL, and other firewalls they call it as a security policies or security rules. Okay, you can by the help of policies or access control list, you can control the traffic. So without blindly we allow every all the services your internal users to access the internet over the internet, right? So you can define to avoid the unauthorized access, to avoid the security risk, to avoid the bandwidth wastage, to avoid the productivity less productivity, right? So you can control the traffic by the help of access control list or pol security rules, okay, for your internal users, your LAN or DMZ users, internal users to access external services. Okay, you can use the traffic, you can use the policies, and also the external use. Sometimes the external users also, let's say you are running some services. Okay, let's say that is your web server. Okay, or your e-commerce site you are hosting, right? So in that case, your external users need to access your web server. So in that time, if you don't have a firewall, or if you don't have a device to control your external traffic to access your internal resources, to avoid the unauthorized access gaining, to avoid the unauthorized people to access some services, right? We need to control the traffic, guys. Okay, so that is the main thing we have to achieve to avoid these risks. We have to avoid bandwidth wastage, we have to avoid the security risk, and we have to avoid the less productivity. Okay, so for that we need to control the traffic. And when you have a router, we cannot achieve this control the traffic efficiently. Okay, so that I'll tell you later what is the reason. Okay, as of now, to control your traffic in an efficient way, we have to use any one of the next generation firewall as of now. Okay, so let's assume that is firewall. We are having a firewall. We replace the router. Instead of router, you can replace one device called firewall, which can control the traffic by the help of, to avoid the unauthorized access and then bandwidth wastage and security risk, right? So you can use security rules or access control policies. By the help of that mechanisms, you can control the traffic, okay, in your by using firewalls, guys. And then what is mean by monitor? So now we have idea why we need to control the traffic. Then what is mean by monitor, and what is the purpose of monitoring the traffic? Okay, so everything is fine. Now we have user security rules to control the traffic. Let's assume I'm going to allow my internal LAN users to access the internet only for, they can able to access only AirAsia server over the internet. I have restricted. Okay. Now this AirAsia server, it's belongs to AirAsia environment, right? So it might be connected with in a AirAsia uh, environment. So there is an other land resources. Okay. And already the AirAsia environment, it's maybe already it's a infected by vulnerabilities, or by over they have some security breaches over the internet they try to access. Okay, so it's already infected. This machine is already infected, internal resources. So it's already infected, and it while communicating this, your server also already infected. Okay, so now by using access control list, we have controlled the traffic. We are allowing only your internal users when they try to access the internet, when they use when they try to access AirAsia server, that time only they can able to access the internet. Rest of the services they cannot able to access internet. Okay, so by we are achieving that by using control mechanism in your firewall by the help of access list or security based security policies. Now the traffic is allowed. System A now try to access the AirAsia, but AirAsia server is already infected by this some vulnerabilities. Okay, malware, spyware, anything, because they have some security loophole, so it is infected, right? So now while try to access your AirAsia server, right, you're trying to get fetch some mail, client mails from AirAsia server to your work location or anything. Okay, you're trying to access. So you're downloading some files. Okay, so that that might be which is related to your job activity. Okay, so that let's say that is PDF file you are trying to download. It's this access is authorized access only. It's controlled by the policy, and the access is allowed because it's necessary service we need to allow for your internal users to access your AirAsia server. Okay, so even though it's a controlled traffic, right? The traffic now, you're trying to download some PDF file from the AirSA server. Okay, let's assume. Okay, and already the AirSA server is infected. So now what will happen? Once if you are trying to communicate, your system may try to communicate with your AirSA server, and now your system may also will be affected because it's an affected machine. Its vulnerability is there, so it will affected by the same vulnerability if you are while communicating each other. Okay, so then if it is infected, your entire infrastructure also will be able to it also infected by the vulnerabilities, right? So it will also affect your network. So what we have to do, we should not simply we allow the control traffic. We also monitor whether the user, as a user, will not know this server is already infected, we have a vulnerability in this server, we should not communicate with the server, and all user will not able to understand, right? So even though it's a controlled traffic, that the traffic is authorized traffic, it's allowed traffic, we should monitor the traffic whether that traffic having any vulnerabilities. virus, malware, spyware, anything, grayware, right? So, or any ransomware type of attack is going to happen, or a phishing type of attack is going to happen, right? Or DDoS attack is happen from that, right? So your user will not aware about it, right? So according to the user, they are trying to access the allowed services, and allowed services we are getting reply. While getting reply, that reply itself, that file might be contain vulnerability, spyware, malware, anything which is infected, which is going to infect your internal resources as well. So we should not allow authorized traffic also blindly. So we need to monitor the traffic. And while monitoring that traffic, in case if your firewall is identified that traffic is vulnerable, it's infected by the malware or spyware, right? So what will happen? Your firewall immediately will block the traffic. Okay, so this can be achievable when you have a monitoring feature in your firewall. Okay, so controlling feature is to allow authorized traffic. Okay, and allow whatever the traffic we need necessary to access it for our, sorry guys, our needs. Based on our needs we can control the traffic, but even though that is an authorized traffic, in we can't say it is in a secure traffic. So we need to make sure our security in our environment, to make sure our security, right? So in the terms of security we need to monitor the traffic even though that is authorized traffic. Okay, so while monitoring the traffic, your firewall can do that monitoring process by the help of security profiles. Okay, we call it as a security profiles, or sometimes we have a inbuilt by the help of IPS. Okay, in next generation firewalls, IPS functionalities we are splitting as a security profile features. Okay, so commonly you can say it's a IPS. How we are doing? We are controlling the traffic by the help of security policies, and right, and then our access control list, and we can monitor the traffic by the help of IPS, and IPS can use the security profile policies, okay, and which is antivirus profile, okay, and then data leakage protection, file blocking, okay, and then intrusion, right? Attack any spyware or malware, right? Well, threat prevention, all are comes under the your IPS, entire IPS activities comes under the threat prevention, okay, and then additionally, you can control the traffic. If you can achieve the additionally, you can achieve the application control, URL filter. Okay, these features you can able to achieve, and that and all comes under the monitoring functionality of your firewalls. Antivirus profile, data leakage protection, file blocking, URL filter. Okay, that and all comes under the monitoring monitoring for activities, guys. Okay, so now I hope now you guys are having idea what is firewall, what are the job by the help of firewall, what are the job we can done, and each job can be done by which mechanism, right? So firewall can control the traffic and monitor the traffic, and why we need to control the traffic and why we need to monitor the traffic, both we have discussed. And then by the help of which mechanism we can control the traffic, and by the help of which mechanism we can monitor the traffic. Okay, IPS. Okay, guys, so that we have discussed. Okay, any doubts regarding this, guys? I hope you have clear idea now what is firewall, what firewall can do, and any doubts in this regarding type of firewalls, I'll take it now. Okay, if you have any doubts. No, okay, fine. Others, guys? I hope it is clear. Shall I move on to the next topic? So types of firewalls. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Okay, yes. So firewalls, we have a commonly nowadays, we can classify the firewalls in a different ways. Okay. The functionality wise. Okay. Before going this traditional next generation firewall types, so I'll start my classification in a different way we can classify. So firewalls, I'm going to classify based on the um, physical appearance, right? So I'm going to define hardware firewall, VM firewall, or application firewall, or software firewall. Okay, you can classify it. So that hardware, it's running with one operating system, along with it will come with the hardware. Like example, Palo Alto hardware firewall, FortiGate hardware firewall, and then Checkpoint hardware firewall, Barracuda, a lot of firewalls we have it. ASA hardware firewall. Okay. Example for virtual machine firewall, again the same, all vendors having the VM firewalls like Cisco ASA, ASAV, we have virtual firewall, we have, and Palo Alto PA VM firewall we have, and FortiGate VM firewall we have, right? When application firewalls, all WAF firewalls, web application firewalls, okay, and application and software, all VM firewall, all are same terminology only, and software firewalls, one of the great example for daily we are using it, that software firewall. If you're using a Windows operating system, Windows Defender, okay, so that is software firewall, which is not having, it's just an application, just on a software. Okay, it's not having any hardware. Okay, it's not having dedicated operating system. Okay, but hardware firewalls which come with a dedicated operating system, along with hardware. Okay, they will run their operating system with their own hardware. So that is comes under the hardware firewall. They'll In a virtual firewalls, they'll give you only operating system, and that operating system need to run, you need to provide one hardware. That hardware you can provide from your end, you can just install that virtual machine in your hardware. Okay, so that is VM firewalls. Okay, so you can classify like this based on the uh, physicality. Okay, or else I am going to classify in another way firewalls by functionality. Instead of software firewall, I'm going to define endpoint protection firewalls, network firewalls. So in endpoint protection itself, it means you can define any antivirus applications which can protect your end devices from the vulnerabilities. Okay, and also Windows Defender. Okay, and then any application based firewalls. Okay, you can classify that. So any antivirus applications and Windows Defender. Okay, And any application based firewalls you can define as a endpoint protection, which can able to protect only that machine. Okay, and you need to install it on each and every machine. Okay, okay, and then what is network firewall? Sorry, network firewall. It can be it's not like endpoint protection. Endpoint protection will give you the security on that particular single device which you where you have installed it. But network firewall can able to protect your entire network resources. Not it will provide the security network level. It will not affect you. It will not allow any intrusions or any vulnerabilities or any unauthorized access to enter into your network. It will protect as a network level. Okay, and this will protect only application level, but it can be installed each and every devices. But you can install this single device is enough to protect your entire environment, your entire network. Okay, yes. So that by functionality wise, I can classify firewalls in two different ways, and one is endpoint protection, another one is network firewall. Okay, in this network firewalls, we are classifying it two different ways. So whatever the firewall we are going to learn, FortiGate, Palo Alto, Checkpoint, anything if you learn, right? So these next generation firewalls are network firewalls only. Okay, these firewalls we are going to learn FortiGate here. So the FortiGate, it's a next generation firewall, and it comes under the network firewall types. Okay, it can able to protect in your entire network from the vulnerabilities. Okay, so that is network firewalls. This network firewalls I'm going to classify in a two different way, that is traditional and next generation firewall. Okay, traditional firewall and next generation firewall. So the traditional firewall, further this traditional firewall I'm going to classify two different ways. Okay, one is packet filtering firewall, another one is stateful firewall. Okay, let's give some example. Let's draw one topology. So traditional firewall, example for traditional firewall, you can use your Cisco router or Juniper router, anything you can use it as a traditional firewall, and which is comes under the packet filtering. Under traditional firewall, we have a two different firewall, traditional firewalls, packet filtering firewall and stateful firewall. Okay, or instead of packet filtering, you can say it's a stateless firewall as well. Stateless firewall and stateful firewall. Okay, so example for stateless firewall, you can tell your router as your stateless firewall. By using access control list, ACL, you can filter the traffic. Okay, so again, let's give one topology. Let's say I'm placing here Cisco router. This is my LAN network. This is my ISP. So in ancient days, we used before firewall, implementing the firewall, right? So we used Cisco, sorry, routers only to filter the traffic by the help of access control list. Okay. So now let's say system B, which is having 10.10 and 10.20 IP address /24 network. Okay. Now I want to allow, so I'm not having any firewall. I'm using my my L3 device, which is router, as my firewall as of now to control my traffic. So when you have when you use a Cisco routers, when you are going to use an access list to fill, if you want to control the traffic, you can able to control only on layer 3 network layer. You can use the filters, network layer filters. So which means you can use source IP as a filter. You can control the traffic. You can allow only specific source to access some specific services, or specific source to access some specific destination. And along with specific source can access specific services with specific destination. Okay, source IP as your filter or source network as your filter you can use when you have a L3 filters, right? And when you have a layer 4 filter, transport layer, what kind of filters you can use it, guys? By using transport layer, if you want to control the traffic, what kind of filters you can use it? Protocol and port number. Okay, so either you can allow TCP traffic or UDP traffic in that particular port number services. Port numbers you can use to filter the traffic, right? Clear? Exactly, Salman. Okay, guys. So now I don't want to replay. I mean, we are not. Let's assume we are not finding any uh, router. We don't have a sorry firewall in ancient days, like right. So we used a router to filter the traffic, and because of what are the things, it's what are the drawback is going to happen. Why we need to why we are not able to use packet filtering or stateless firewalls as of now. Okay, so to provide enhanced security in your infrastructure that we are going to see. Okay, so now either I can use source IP, the source network, destination IP, or destination network, and then protocol number, port number I can use to filter the traffic. Let's assume I want to allow system A to access the internet. Okay, so this is Facebook FB server. Okay. And system A employee one he want to access Facebook server. So I'm going to create I want to allow system A to block of access the Facebook server and system B to access the Facebook server. I want to deny. Okay. I don't want to allow system B to access the Facebook. Okay. In that scenario, I can use source IP and destination IP as the filters in a layer 3, and protocol number and port number I can use a filter the traffic in layer 4. Now let's assume source IP. I'm going to create a ACL access control list to allow 10.10 in case destination is, let's assume that is 200.10 FB IPs. Destination is 200.10. I'm going to the service is a traffic is in a TCP traffic, and then port number it's an HTTPS. They are going to Facebook are using. If you type HTTPS facebook.com, that is comes under the web services, and HTTPS services has the port number 403, right? So let's assume it's in a HTTP traffic. Let's assume with the HTTP port number 8. Okay, so he is using HTTP. Facebook now giving the service in a HTTP traffic and port number 80. Okay, HTTPS 443. We are going to use HTTP traffic. Okay, or HTTPS, anything 443 port number you can use it, but still I'm going to give example with the HTTP traffic port number 80. Okay, so I can TCP protocol and port number is I'm going to use port number 80. I'm creating the access list and I'm I'm going to allow that traffic. Let's create it. And now system A try to access Facebook server, and your firewall the traffic will hit your router, and router will check, do we have any access list for this traffic? Yes, we have. What is the access list says? Source is 10.10, destination is 10.20, the traffic is TCP traffic, and service is port number 80. Then action is allow. So now what will happen? It will allow the traffic. So system A user can able to access the Facebook server. And likewise, I'm going to create one more access list for system B. Source is 10.20 and destination is 200.10 and protocol is TCP, port number is 80. I want to deny. Action is deny. Okay. So now system A try to access the same Facebook server. He is not able to access it. So we are now by the help of access list, we control the traffic. That's fine. Okay. So this right, we control the traffic. Second, first scenario is completed. We can able to control the traffic based on the access list in a traditional way. Okay. So now we'll access the Facebook. When you have a Cisco router or Juniper router as a firewalling purpose by using access control list, what will happen? Let's assume he is going to download in a Facebook. Forget about other things. The traffic is allowed as per the rule, and he is going to download some service, some video which is contain 150 MB data. So this 150 MB data convertible as a 100 IP packet, right? 100 IP packets. Okay. Now what will happen? This 100 IP packets needs to download from the Facebook server, or let's assume he is going to upload or download. Okay. Now what will happen? Each IP packet, it will get an acknowledgement when it is received and it when right. So everything will be happen in a proper way. But your Cisco router, it's in a packet filtering device, right? So what will happen? It is going to execute. So once first request is going from the user end, and he is, let's assume he is going to upload some data on your Facebook server, right? So it will be converted. This data is converted as a 100 IP packet from user end. So now the traffic needs to upload on your Facebook server. The each packets are going downloading or uploading any direction. You can take it as an example. Okay, each IP packet one, two, three, like that 100 IP packets will what will happen? Your router, since it's a packet filtering device, whenever one packet is passing your interface, it will execute the ACL. It will execute the ACL again and again. So already while initiating that session, we just execute the ACL. But in a normal Cisco router, what it will do, packet filtering firewall, what it will do, it will execute the ACL again and again for this 100 IP packet. So even though it's an authorized traffic, it's allowed it, right? So each and every time it is going to execute the ACL. Because of this, what will happen? So ACL execution, let's assume this it's in a simple traffic. I don't have a much traffic in my network because I have only two machines. Let's assume I have a 200 machine. Each 200 machines are accessing the Facebook server, or I have allowed it, and they are to download, upload some videos, right? Now what will happen? For each and every request, each and every IP packets, for example, for our system A is having 100 IP packets now. So this 100 IP packets, ACL is going to execute the 100 times. Okay, 100 times it's going to execute. Okay. because of that because of that, I'm wastage. I mean, my router is responsible for a lot of things. It needs to take a routing update, it's need to do NAT, it's need to do VPN traffic, it deal with the VPN traffic, right? So already it has a lot of working load it has. When you're using your router to filter the traffic, so unnecessarily it will execute the ASM even though it's an authorized allowed traffic. Again and again and again, it's going to execute the ACL 100 times for its. Let's assume this is a 100 packet. In case if you have a 200 sessions or a 2000 sessions, so each are having 100 packets or anything. Okay, so unnecessarily allowed traffic also it's need to execute the ACL again and again. So multiple ACL execution is going to happen. Because of that, again, bandwidth wastage. Since your router is responsible to multiple tasks, so uh, processing unit workload. Okay, and then bandwidth wastage, processing unit workload, and already it's responsible with the NAT VPN. So it will occur, the latency will occur. Because of that, latency will occur. Okay, so it's not a suitable idea to use your L3 devices, or it's not suitable device to filter the traffic. Your router is not suitable device to filter the traffic. This is one aspect. And now I want to allow my system A to access web services. In that web services, I want to allow system A to access Facebook application, right? And I don't want to allow Twitter application, system A to access the Twitter application in a web traffic. Okay, and I want to allow only web services. I want to allow only Facebook applications only to access it in my system A. Rest of the any web related application I don't want to access to my system A, for my system A. In that case, since your router has your access list, you can filter the traffic by the help of access list. And access list, you can filter the traffic only layer 2 and layer 3. You don't have a layer 7. Just a minute, guys. I'll be back. Okay. Sorry, guys. Okay, fine. So again, back to our session. It doesn't have a layer 7 visibility. You can't able to filter the traffic based on the layer 7 application layer wise. So in that case, you by the help of access list, you can allow, if you allow services based on the uh, layer 3 access list, layer 3 filter and layer 4 filters, so you cannot avoid other applications. So if you are allowed web services, or most of the internet services are running behind the web services. Okay, running behind the web services. So everyone have a web services. So if you want to block Facebook, if you want to allow Facebook and block uh, Twitter for system A, it's not possible. Application wise, application filter is not there. Since it doesn't have application visibility, application layer visibility, so you can't able to filter the traffic by application wise. So this is the second aspect when we are not able to I mean, when you're using your your traditional packet filtering firewall, if you're using it as a packet filtering device, if you're using it as a firewall, you cannot achieve better efficient way. You cannot filter the traffic in an efficient way, and it doesn't aware the application visibility. And since it is executing the ACL multiple times, it will again the it is going to it waste the bandwidth utilization, and then uh, processing unit workload it is going to give your router. And if your router is crashed, there is a chance due to over workload your device will be crashed, because for a 100 IP packet itself, it is executing the ASL multiple times. With there is no uh, entry, or there is no record that traffic is already authenticated. Okay. So because of that, it's you using ACL to authenticate. So now there is no entry or no record that traffic is previously it is authenticated. So because of that, again and again and again, it is going to authenticate. So for a huge environmental, it's not possible. It's not able to handle by this. You cannot able to filter the traffic based on the traditional way, access control list, and by using Cisco routers or Juniper router, okay, or any routers. By using normal L3 routers, you cannot filter the traffic. Still, you can achieve the traffic, but It's not an efficient way. It's not enough to provide the enhanced security. Okay. These are all the drawback when you're having a router as a filtering device, firewall, and control the traffic. Okay. So after examining all these issues, they have implemented another way. So the first issue is the first drawback, main drawback. Forget about the layer 7 visibility and application filter and all. Okay. So first drawback is it's doing again its ACL execution again and again. It's already authenticated traffic, even though it's an already authenticated traffic, since it's a packet level switch, packet level filter. Okay, so now they fixed that issue by the help of implementing one feature called stateful. Previously, that authentication is done by stateless. It doesn't maintain any record. The previously the source and destination with a particular traffic is authenticated, so we should not examine again and again like that. So there is no uh, record for that. So after that, they implemented that feature called stateful. They started to maintain the state information, whether the traffic is already authenticated or not. Okay, and that information they started to save in that next level of implementation. They have replaced whatever the drawback. Router is already doing lot of job, and we should not push the all workload to the router. They replaced one more device, L3 device, instead of normal router. They replaced one more device called ASA. In Cisco side, they have implemented. This is the first traditional firewall. Okay, and let's assume that is ASA firewall. And now, whatever the drawback is there previously in while using routers, they have fixed it. So unnecessary ACL execution is lead to bandwidth utilization, and it's lead to CPU over workload, and right. So and latency is accurate, right? So to avoid that, they have implemented this time by in a traditional firewall. Okay. So in a traditional firewall, packet filtering example is router, and router do by using access list you can filter the traffic. What are the drawback, pros and cons in your when you're using packet filtering firewall? The pros, you can filter the traffic layer based on the layer 3 and layer 4. Okay, and the cons, if you're filtering the traffic by using Cisco routers or any normal L3 routers, you need to do ACL execution multiple times because of that workload, and there is no application layer visibility, and there is no UTM features like data leakage protection, URL filter, file blocking, application control. That feature is not there. Okay, this is the concept when you are having a packet filtering firewall. Okay, and how whatever the drawback, the ACL execution, bandwidth utilization, and all happen because of your packet filtering, right? So normal packet filtering. So after that, they have fixed that issue by the concept called stateful or connection table. So packet filtering, you can call it as a stateless, and stateful, you can call it as a okay connection. They implemented feature called connection table or session table or state table. All are same. If you go for an interview, if your interviewer asks you what is state table, and I'm going to most of the scenario I'm going to use session table only in the name, so you're don't get confused. He is not taking any stay. What is mean by state table and all? What is meaning by connection table and all? Both are same. Connection table, session table, state table, right? All are same only, guys. They are going to maintain their record for authorized authenticated session and established session info. Okay, so once that policy is executed, the state table will be maintained, and it will not execute the policy or ACLs again and again since that record is maintained. So because of that, we can avoid the unnecessary ECL executions. Okay, and by using stateful example for stateful firewall, all next generation firewall also it's an example for next gen stateful firewall. Nowadays, whatever the firewall we are using, next generation firewall, Palo Alto, 14 checkpoint, FTD, right? Paracoda, anything, all are comes under the stateful concepts, stateful firewalls only. Okay. So now we are going to take example with the ASA. Why we are saying we are still nowadays next generation firewall also it's in a stateful firewall, but why we are even though ASA is a stateful firewall, why we are saying that a traditional firewall, that we will see now. Okay, so now we fixed that issue. We replaced one device called ASA. Okay, and this is your internal network. External network, right? And this is your ASA. Sorry guys. Again, system A 10.10, 10.20 system B. Okay, again, Facebook server 200.10. Okay, now what will happen? Same user, he tried to download or upload 100 MB data, 150 MB data, and that is converted again. That is converted as a 100 IP packets. Now, again, we are going to create the rule source IP 10.10, destination is 200.10, and service is TCP protocol, and sorry, port number is protocol is TCP, port number services web services, port number 80, action is allow for this traffic. And for system B again, source IP is 10.20, destination is 200.10, and I want to block TCP protocol and port number 80, same web service, and I want to deny. Action is deny. Okay, action is deny. I have created the same access list now. And now system A try to upload 150 MB data, and now everything will 150 MB data packets, 100 IP packets will go in one by one. So while execute the ACL, this time what will happen? It as soon as it is authenticated, very first time ACL, one time ACL is executed, now it will maintain the connection table or state table or session table. In that it will maintain source IP, destination IP, source port number, destination port number, and then the status of your connection, whether it is established or not. And the status is until unless it's going to in a none state or not established, right? So the ACL is the for same traffic until unless user is closing that same session, right? That ACL will not be executed again and again. The status is still is in a established, right? So the same traffic from the same source, if he try to initiate the traffic, same traffic for access the Facebook server, until unless this session is closed, since they are maintaining the record in your firewall, this record is maintained by your firewall. Very first time is authentic executed the ACL. After that, it will started to maintain what is source IP 10.10, what is the destination IP 200.10, what is the source port number. So that is randomly generated by the PC. Let's assume that is 403. Destination port number, they are requesting to access the web service. What is the service? HTTP. What is the port number of HTTP service? HTTP service, that is port number 80. And then status is established. So these info will be maintained. So again, for any other IP packet after passing through your firewall, it will check the session. The session status is still established until unless the session is closed. ACL will not be executed. So because of that, we fixed multiple ACL execution. Because of this implementation, no ACL multiple execution. Okay, and then because of that, if you're not going to execute the ACL again and again by each packet, right? So you can reduce your bandwidth utilization. So now we fix that bandwidth wastage. Bandwidth wastage. Okay, and third, because of that, again, we have to execute the ACL in a previous stage. So because of that, we waste bandwidth and it is occur the latency. So avoid the latency. Latency avoided. Okay, so still it can act like a L3 device. It can able to handle with the routing functionalities. It can able to handle with the VPN traffic, everything it can able to do it. So whatever the previous drawback we think, right? So that everything we have fixed. Okay, then why we are saying that ASA is a traditional firewall? These are all the positive. Okay, whatever the previous issue we have, we have fixed because of connection table feature implementation in this device. Okay, and now the I mean the session, it's there is no specific time for particular session. So until and unless you are going to use the users are going to initiate the session. If your user is not maintain that session, that there is an uh, session table entry time. We have a entry timing. If the session is not closed and but there is no traffic initiated by the user, and the connection table will maintain the normal session table info. Okay, specific timing. Okay, that I'll explain you. I'll show you in a real time how long it will be maintained for specific traffic and all. That I'll explain you. But it, and it depends on the user usage. Okay, if that traffic is ideal, particular session is ideal, the session table information will be maintained particular timing if it is an ideal, or if it is an keep the session is keep on going on, right? So that's totally depends on the user usage. Okay, but in case the ideal stage, so there the each traffic have some uh, specific time to maintain in your session table. Sorry, yes, that I'll explain you. That I'll show you in an upcoming session how long it will maintain and all. Okay, in an ideal stage. Okay, so now we have fixed that issues, but yes, fine, Salman. Okay, so now then what are the drawbacks? Still, you are using ASA firewall. ASA firewall, still we are using ACL to filter the traffic. So while using this is for example for your connection table. This information will be maintained. What is the source IP, source port number, destination IP, and destination port number, and the session state, connection state. It is established or not. Okay, but connection state table or session table or connection table, all are same only. Okay, this is how the data will be maintained in your firewall. Okay, and now still the three major issues fixed when you are implementing one feature called connection table by replacing your device with a instead of router we replaced one firewall device, and that device is implemented with a connection table feature. Okay, so because of that we have fixed it. But now I want to allow system A to access Facebook, but I don't want to allow system A to access Twitter, right? And then WhatsApp or any other social networking application. I want to allow only specific application Facebook. Okay. So in that case, still you can achieve this by the help of source IP and destination IP of your Facebook server. Okay. But Facebook will not maintain, always will not maintain this static IP address for your Facebook server. They have region wise, they have a database. Each database have different IP address. So that's sometimes you can able to achieve that filter, sometimes you cannot able to achieve the filter. Apart from that, in apart from that, other features called UTM features. I want to block some specific URL. I want to block some specific application like Twitter or that application. It's not possible. Even though if you are using source and destination IP as a filter and you want to block that application, yes, you can use it, but all the time it's not going to work properly. And second scenario, I want to allow Facebook. Inside that Facebook, I want to deny Facebook chat, micro application control, micro level applications you cannot control, and by when you are having a ASA firewall. And since ASA firewall doesn't have a application layer visibility, you can able to filter the traffic only layer 3 and layer 4. Okay, and whatever the other drawback, ACL execution is fixed, workload is reduced, but no application layer visibility and no UTM features when you have a ASA firewall. Okay, so what UTM features means? URL filter, file blocking, data leakage protection, and then IPS functionalities, intrusion prevention system, right? And zero-day threat prevention. That features and all, it's not there. Nowadays, we need the monitoring, control the traffic, it's possible. Okay, control the traffic, it's possible by having ASA. And when it comes to the application visibility monitoring, layer 7 monitoring, right? So it's not possible because there is no L7 visibility in your ASA firewall. Okay, so that are all the drawback when you have a ASA firewall. So we should not, even though it is implemented with the connection table, right? The pros are, still we'll use the ACL access list to filter the traffic, and we implemented additionally connection table to achieve the to avoid the unnecessary ACL execution. The pros, again, you can able to filter the traffic layer 3 and layer 4, and connection table is implemented so that you can avoid the ACL execution multiple times. And then cons, there is no layer 7 visibility and there is no UTM features like application control, URL filter, file blocking, right? So that and all, it's not there. Okay, so that is your cons when you have a ASA firewall. So that's the reason we are defining that ASA firewall under traditional firewall. Under traditional firewall, we have classified the ASA firewall. Okay, even though it has connection table. Then, so now nowadays, to achieve more security in your environment, you need a L7 visibility, you need a intrusion prevention, IPS, you need a application control, you need a URL filter, file blocking, data leakage protection, right? Zero-day threat prevention features. That and all we need to ensure will help us to provide enhanced security in your infrastructure guys. Okay, so without, nowadays in daily basis, a number of attacks and vulnerabilities are generated by the hackers. Okay, a lot of hackers are there, more nowadays they have technology wise, they are more stronger, they can identify the, they can find the loophole in any way. Okay, so without a next generation firewall, if you're using a in traditional firewalls, nowadays you can't able to achieve the secure you cannot able to full achieve 100% security. Even though if you have a UTM features or next generation firewalls and all, you cannot achieve 100%. You can't say 100% security in your, I have achieved 100% security in my infrastructure according to the security domain when it comes to the internet, right? So not only internet, in your infrastructure, you can't say my network is 100% secure. In as a firewall administrator, you should not say my network is 100% secure. They can found any loophole. So you have to make sure these are all the mechanisms we have to ensure your network security. You have to implement all these features, by using all these features, you have to ensure your network security, guys. Okay, so that is the mandatory thing why we need to, these are the reasons why we need to migrate your normal traditional firewall to next generation firewalls. Then what is next generation firewall? Whatever the drawback of we have discussed here, application control is not there, URL filter is not there, no UTM features, right? So that and all implemented with your next generation firewall. So example for next generation firewall, FortiGate firewall, which we are going to learn, that is one of the next generation firewall. Even though it's also maintaining the connection table. Okay, along with that, it is maintaining the it having the feature called UTM features. Okay, so Palo Alto, other firewalls, Palo Alto, FortiGate, Checkpoint, all are other example for next generation firewalls. And then whatever, when you're having a next generation firewall, what are the things you can achieve? The pros: you can filter the traffic based on the layer 3, layer 4, and application layer 7 up to layer 7. Additionally, you can have a monitoring feature called, not it's L3 and L4 and L7, it's for control the traffic. And UTM features, it will have a monitoring purpose. You can monitor more on your traffic for authorized traffic, allowed traffic. You can achieve the URL filter, zero-day threat prevention, advanced malware protection, and then IPS, intrusion prevention, data leakage, file blocking, and application control. It's since it's a layer 7 visibility, we can able to do it, control the traffic. We can filter the traffic by application wise. So that is I have mentioned there. Okay, and then uh, FortiGuard features. Okay, in Fortinet, we have a FortiGuard features that is comes under the zero-day threat prevention or advanced malware protection features. Okay, so these are all the features we have when you have a application. Sorry, when you have a next generation firewall. Okay, clear, guys. So nowadays we need next generation firewall to implement more security feed to enhance your infrastructure security. Okay, we need a next generation firewall. Without next generation firewall, we cannot implement our network security in an enhanced way. Okay, clear, guys. I hope you guys are clear in this topic. What is firewall? What are the types of firewall we have? What is traditional firewall? What is next generation firewall? What are the difference between the traditional firewall and next generation firewall? What are the features we have additionally in a next generation firewall? Everything. Any doubts, guys? No. Okay. Others? Any doubts? Any query regarding this session? Okay. No. Okay, yes. So since it's a day one, it's just like a introduction session and master class. You can take it as a master class. Official course curriculum we are going to start from next Saturday. Okay. The actual course duration, I mean time class timing is, it's in a weekend batch. In weekend, Saturday only batch, guys. It's in a Saturday batch. We don't have a session on Sunday. Yes, Abhay, you can ask. You can ask. No issues. Okay. So since it's on a day one, I am to avoid the unnecessary noise. I have muted everyone. So if you want to communicate with me, you can. I'll unmute you. Okay. You can ask in between. No worries. I'll share this. Actually, today I will share the recorded video of today's session to everyone. Okay. And from um, next week onwards, I'll share the recorded session of your live session. It's only for paid students. Okay, so if you want to join this batch, I request you to contact. You can contact me. So first timing is, sorry, I'll complete with the timing. Let me give you intro about this this batch timing. So this is in a weekend batch. Okay, and timing 10:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Okay, in between 10:30 to 1 o'clock we have session 1, 11:30, 12:30, 1, 2.5 hours. First of session, okay, we are going to have this session, this whole day session. I am going to split as a two different session. Yes, Salman, I'll share the course curriculum. You can get it. Okay, in a okay, no worries. So this is the class timing 10:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. So first of session 10:30 to 1 p.m. Second of session 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. In between, we have 1 hour for lunch break and other break. You can take it 1 hour. Okay. So first half session it's going to be a 2.5 hour. Second half session is going to be a 2 hours. So totally duration per 4 hours we have. Okay. 4.5 hours. We are going to have a session in a Saturday, and we don't have uh, yes, Misra, we will do all the labs, whatever I have shared with you, content, all the content we'll do lab, no worries. Practical we will do it. The session will go like that only. Okay. And totally 4.5 hours session, and it's only Saturday only, guys. Okay. We don't have a session on Sunday. Okay. And it will be take 5 weekends, 5 Saturday to complete. Okay. 5 Saturday to complete your FortiGate firewall. Okay, and week-wise course curriculum I'll give you on a next week. I'll give you while giving an introduction. I'll give you the week-wise, and first week what are the topic we are going to cover. Second week what are the topic we are going to cover everything. What are the model we are going to cover everything. I'll give you week-wise and upcoming week. Okay, and course price cost for FortiGate firewall fee. Actual cost is 10,000 INR. Right now we are giving a 50% offer. If you are from abroad, cost is 80 USD. Okay. So if you are from India, you have to pay 5,000 INR. Actual cost is 10,000. So right now we are giving 50% offer, so you can able to get this course 5,000 rupees itself. Okay. And for abroad students, that is 80,000 USD. You can make your payment through PayPal or MoneyGram, Wise, any mode you can make it your payment. And for Indian students, you can make your payment through IEMPS or PhonePe or GPay, UPI ID you can use as a payment gateway. Okay. And for admission process, please contact any query, any query or admission process. You can contact this number. Okay. So you can ping me or you can call me and or you can WhatsApp me as well. So I'm available. Okay. So I'll give that contact number in a chat box. You can use it, guys, if you want. Okay. And for your lab, we are going to use a virtualization tool called Even-G. Okay. It's an emulator, Even-G emulator. We are going to work with the virtual firewalls. Okay. So whatever the topics I have shared with you, right? Everything we can able to implement in a VM firewall. Okay. And for hands-on, how to install your lab setup and upload the image files, everything I'll share specific recorded video for lab setup. Okay. And in case if you are having any issues, let me know. I'll take a remote access and I'll fix your lab setup, guys. Okay. I'll help you for that. And if you want, take that session in a live session as well. I'll take, but one more weekend it will be extended. Okay. So 6 weekend it will take. Okay. However, first I'll share. You guys can watch that recorded video. I'll share and I'll share the image files who are all taking admission, right? For them, I'll share the image files, whatever the tool, whatever the softwares we need to use, everything I will share with you. And this is the, okay, let me show you that. Okay, so this is your sample topology we are going to use for next three sessions. Okay, almost we are going to deal with the three topologies. This is for mm, first 30 percentage of course, sorry, 40 percentage of course curriculum will use this topology, and high availability will use a different topology, and SD-WAN we will use a different topology. Three more okay, so SD-WAN we'll use another topology, and HA we will use another topology, and then this is your Active Directory server. We are going to integrate Active Directory server with your FortiGate firewall, and we are going to use two test PCs, and we are going to implement web server here, internal web server, external web server. Okay, and then this is your site one and site two. While establishing the site one site-to-site VPN, we are going to implement this. So almost 50% of course curriculum we will cover in this topic. Okay, fixed topic, so that you can able to understand with a real-time scenario. I'll give you the real-time example, and with a industry-based examples we'll give. Okay, so you can able to achieve. And this is the tool we are going to use, and these devices, software tools, image files, everything I'll share with you guys. Okay, and make sure try to complete your lab setup before coming to the next session, guys. Okay, so because next session we are going to perform uh, initial setup. Okay, so meanwhile you can, if you are ready with your machine, you can, while taking the session itself, you can complete your lab. Okay, so I request you to complete your lab setup in complete, I mean, uh, to take admission of, for if you're interested to this batch, to take admission, and I'll share that after your admission I'll share the image files and recorded videos of lab setups. Okay, and in case if you're having issue with your lab setup while doing lab setup, I'll share the, I mean, you can contact me. I will take a remote access and I'll fix that issues. Okay, everything I'll give you. See, it's nothing more different. Actually, I'm started to use newly. I'm exploring whatever the features they have it. Okay, I'll explain you. I'll give you after examine all this. I'll give you that this difference between the EVNG tool and this tool. Okay, so working principle is similar. EVNG and PNet. Okay, case any doubts? No, no, Mr. Whatever the prerequisite you need to install EVNG, the same thing. Okay. Okay, guys, I'm going to wind up this session here itself. Okay, and those who are, let me, sorry, I forget to share my number in a chat. Okay, myself Sudhakar Ponusamy. You can contact me for your admission process.